Saurabh, could you just throw some light as to what do you think are the main reasons why Russia is invading Ukraine and still not stopping even after 55 days of war?
Yeah, thanks for calling me to this meeting, Ruben. Thank you, viewers. See, basically, there are various reasons for Russia invading Ukraine. If I go with the mainstream media version, it seems as if Russia is a war criminal. They are committing crime, as the mainstream media shows at a world level, United Nations level. But if I analyze it deeply, I can see there are some reasons for Russia to attack Ukraine, and mainly there is a fault on behalf of NATO also for it. See, primarily the NATO was created to somehow withhold Soviet Union, and while the NATO is a North Atlantic Treaty of Organization created by United States with other Northern Atlantic European countries, the Soviet had something called Warsaw Pact. So
Yes,
with the
we're aware of that.
dissolution of USSR, the Warsaw Pact actually got dissolved. So ideally, going by that logic, NATO shouldn't have existed till now. But NATO continued to exist and NATO continued to move eastward. And now the Russians have it is a vast country. And if I go by the history during the Napoleonic Wars and even for Hitler's war, the Russians are very concerned about their security from the mainland Europe. So basically, Ukraine acted as a buffer currently between the NATO boundary and the Russian boundary. Ukraine, Belarus, Moldova, these countries. But with
Yes.
Ukraine joining the NATO and European Union, the NATO countries could easily settle and establish all their missile systems in Ukraine where Russia's security breach can happen. So Russia has to respond for that.
But
And the
to
second,
what extent do you believe, sorry to cut you short, but what extent do you believe it is correct for one sovereign nation to be invaded in such a way where we are seeing different cities being bombed to the Stone Age, primarily, I would say, and with so many war crimes happening? That's what we have been hearing in the mainstream media. To what extent do you think this kind of a fighting is justified? I mean, in today's warfare, what we have seen that wars do not, serve any purpose to the extent that even if you're fighting, even if it's a big aggressor, it is actually a loss of vast resources even for that particular country as well. So why do you think this is war is continuing for so long, and why is it not coming to an end at all?
no, basically what I feel this is just the beginning. Okay, it won't come to an end so easily. I don't think so. And there are various reasons for it. But what I feel is that, yeah, we can see that the Russians have invaded Ukraine, but within Ukraine, there are around 30% of Russians were there. In 2014, the Americans forcefully, just crippled one of the democratically elected government of Ukraine. And after that, the Crimea incident happened. And after that, whatever the governments came in Ukraine, the current Zelensky government, they had committed heinous crimes on the Russian origin people within the Ukraine. There are 30% of people of that community. So, it is not a one-sided game. Ukrainian, especially under the leadership of Zelensky, they have also committed some crimes on the Russian people there. Had it been in some other countries, let it be in Indian concept, if some attacks on Muslims or minorities happen, then these would be discussed in the United Nations and many things would come up. But it didn't happen in that case. So what I feel it is a kind of wokeism behavior from United Nations and United States also. So and the other thing is that the United Nations mainly pumped Ukraine to challenge Russia. But at the end of the day, they are doing everything apart from sending military, direct military people. And the military and the equipments which they are selling Ukraine, they are having their business. But you see, at the same time, Russian gas and pipelines are coming to the European countries continuously. So what it sees is not the actual reality.
So that
There are
brings me to
some
the next question. Yes, Saurabh, very rightly said. That brings me to the next question. To what extent do you think is it justified for the European and the Americans to ask India to cut down on their energy supplies that they have been getting from Russia? On one hand, we have been seeing our foreign minister saying that the amount of oil that India imports from Russia is less than what Europe gets in one afternoon, if the word he has said is correct. To what
this is
extent
a
do you think it's being justified?
no, it is not justified. Basically, Americans and the British people, mainly if I call them specifically as Anglo-Saxon people, they still have that colonial overhead within them. They still they are not able to come out of that colonial mindset. They still believe India is their colony. In the First World War and the Second World War, it was the Indian soldiers who were sent to fight in their territory. They used to fight and die. And currently, as because India is not with them, they are not able to send the military directly. But apart from that, they are doing everything. They are selling their arms and everything. So basically, the Europeans are taking the gas from Russia, it's fine. But if India is taking the gas from Russia, it is not fine. But what I feel, it is one point. But the main point is they somehow want to break these ties between India and Russia geopolitically. If the ties between India and Russia is broken or somehow becomes cold, India has to come in terms with the US, and then US can dictate its terms on India. So India has to be dependent on US, and it will be a disaster for Indians, especially for the Hindu side. So whatever the steps Modi has taken is correct, justified.
But on the other hand, we do have a counter claim or a counter argument that's being given from the United States primarily. It says that if China were to be an aggressor on India, Russia is not going to come to India's help. To what extent do you think that kind of a statement is justified?
That statement is also not justified. Even if China attacks India, the United States will not come to save India. We have seen that in Ukraine's case only. United States fully pumped up Ukraine to go do this war with Russia, but at the end of the day, apart from sending military equipment help, it has not done anything specific. And United States will not help India militarily if China attacks India. And that's everyone knows. Even if you remember during the Galwan War, United States what actually it is a kind of a long planned geopolitical strategy of both United States and China, Communist Party of China. The Galwan War, United States didn't help India, but what they asked India and China is that they want to make a base at the border area of India and China. That is their mindset. And if I go to the history, United States once create a base anywhere, they generally doesn't leave that base. And even in the world also, they have their 7 huge naval bases which are ruling the world. So United States is not going to help China in that. And what I feel it is because of United States, Japan and South Korea became insecure also, especially Japan. And they are really feeling the heat from China.
But given the fact that Japan doesn't itself have a significant army to be called as its own, right? After the Second World War, after Japan surrendered, uh, the security of Japanese actually falls into American hands. So how do you take that?
That is the point which Indians needs to learn. The security of the Japanese have fallen into American hands. Now the Japanese are not capable of securing themselves by their own from the Chinese attack, which is very next to them. They have to depend on America. And I mean, they can't go beyond America. I remember the ex-Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe tried to break that policy, but the current Prime Minister of Japan, who is going against Russia, it is just only to make America happy, so that their thinking is if any aggression happens from China in Taiwan, or they have the dispute in Senkaku Island, the America will come to help. Maybe America will help Japan, but Japan cannot defend their country alone. This is very shocking because historically the rivalry of between Japanese and Chinese are long, and the Japanese
Yes,
were able to defend themselves for thousands of years. But this is the first time in history I can see that the Japanese are so helpless, looking so
that
helpless.
is a fact.
They
Yes, yes, yes.
they can amass huge wealth for their people. They have huge wealth, but security wise, they are not well. They are not good.
So until and unless the country has got military might, you mean to say that economic security doesn't really count?
Yes, yes. There is also an example for that. Look at the situation of North Korea and South Korea. North Korea economically is a devastated state. It has no economy, only it has military, and it is fully dependent on China. And China grew economically based on America for some strategic reasons. Henry Kissinger, many reasons are there. But now they have developed missiles, and they are with those developed missiles and atomic missiles. I mean, they are posing a tremendous security threat to both South Korea and Japan.
Yes.
And South Korea also has some. I mean, it has a strong military base. It is not the case that South Korea is militarily totally incapable. That is not the case. It has a rule that every citizen has to serve in military for some time. It has some good rules, so it can resist. But Japan's situation is very dangerous and precarious.
Yes. Yeah, so with this, we come to the close of this edition. Once again, thank you very much, Saurabh, for giving us your insights. Uh, I mean, it has been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much.
Thank, thank you, Ruben.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.